Welcome back to How to Be a Better DM, the official podcast of Monsters.rent. I'm Justin Lewis.
And I'm Tanner Wayland.
And we are here to help you tell better stories for yourself and your players as you dungeon master sessions of D&D, Dungeons & Dragons. We'd like to give you some quick announcements. We actually have one before the show, and then after the show, if you want to stick around, we have some more announcements then as well. But first, let's talk about this. Tired of being alone? Are you tired of not having any of your players understand you? Are you tired of never truly belonging? Well, you're in luck. All you need to do is join the Guild. The Guild is a unique and exclusive experience that is only open to Dungeon Masters. It is a full community focused on helping ease your DMing burdens. Want to meet other DMs? Join the Guild. Want to discuss your homebrew ideas with people who would appreciate it instead of just telling your cat? Join the Guild. Want to find a place where all your wildest dreams will come true? Join the Guild. Go to monsters.rent/guild and sign up today for free. Wait, that can't be right. Chuck, can you check this again? Is this supposed to be... What? Oh, they're serious? It's free? Oh, okay. All right. Yes, go to monsters.rent/guild and sign up today for free, even though they are crazy for giving this away for free. Common side effects may include burping, sneezing, laughing, breathing, hearing, listening, tasting, farting, critting, sarcasm, and in extreme cases, explosive diarrhea. Awesome. With that out of the way, we can get into today's show. You and your companions wake up on a sandy beach. You rub your eyes, trying to get some of that sand out. Your head is aching, and you feel as if you've been filled with water and strung out to dry. You stand up, looking around. You see flotsam littering the shore as well as rocky crags a few meters into the ocean. That's right. You and your companions shipwrecked last night. You were sailing, and then a storm hit. Next thing you knew, some ginormous creature had taken hold of your ship underwater and had drawn you towards this land. Last thing you remembered was the ship being pulled under the waves. You look up. The island seems to be home to a large jungle. You hear the chatter of various animals emanating from inside. It's quiet, though. You hear the lapping of the waves, and almost you think you hear the sound of distant drums. Curious. So, what would you like to do? Welcome back to the 11th episode of How to Be a Better DM. Together we are going to discover how to tell better stories as you Dungeon Master sessions of D&D 5e. As always, let me shout out Couchy Audio, who helps out with our audio here on the show. Reach out to them for all your audio needs by sending a direct message on Instagram to @KAHOOTAZ, and he will help you out too. Today is a bit of a short show, so hopefully it's useful to you, but let me tell you a few mistakes I've made while being a dungeon master, and more importantly, some simple ways to fix or avoid them. Big mistake number one, not limiting players. Most of these mistakes that I've made are because I'm too nice of a person. When you decide you want to start a campaign, set a number of players in your mind and stick to it. If you're like me, you should probably set it 2 or 3 people lower than what you think is okay, because you'll still somehow acquire a few extra players. Having lots of people is fun, but it's super tough to manage, so stick with more manageable group sizes for better gameplay, believe me. In my current group, we started out with 4 people, and I was going to play one of them, and then we somehow got up to 6 or 7, and slowly people have been dropping out, so now we're down to 5 players plus me as the DM, which seems to be working okay. Number 2, my big mistake is giving them too many magic items. I'm constantly tempted to give the players these awesome items way too fast. And that just looks weird, honestly. You end up having a bunch of level 2 characters with legendary items, and it's just super weird. Plus, it's hard to gauge the difficulties of encounters because they have these amazing items that do all these damages and all these cool things. And so it kind of skews the encounter builder that you might be using on D&D Beyond and such. I'd suggest giving no more than 2 magical items to your group in any particular dungeon. And if you're giving them more than 2 items in a session, that's way too many. Honestly, that's, 2 items is probably too many in a single dungeon. So maybe even 1. The group can obviously decide to buy or make however many items they want, or have resources for, I guess is a better way to say it. But finding items is completely different. So I would definitely limit the items you give them. Number 3, big mistake I made, making dungeons too long. This is a mistake I've made currently while trying to make a specific dungeon really cool. If your group likes it though, it's not a huge issue, but you shouldn't make the dungeon last longer than other important plot points, unless it's actually a central plot point, in which case that's fine. But if it's a side quest, as the dungeon we're in right now is, for me, maybe 2 to 3 sessions is okay. If it's a major side quest, maybe 5 max, but it shouldn't be any more than that, because you don't want your players forgetting what the actual goal of the campaign is. The side quest I have my players on, it has nothing to do with the main quest really, and we've been here for so long. And I've actually had to kind of expedite it a little bit and just give them some things for free in order to make it go faster. Mistake number 4 is making friendly NPCs way too strong. Again, I'm too nice of a person, but in this case, I made the mistake by creating this NPC and tying it to a part of the backstory of one of my characters, so the NPC can't die. And so since I knew it would be traveling with the players, I didn't want this character to die, so I made him a bit too strong. Now he deals way too much damage and he kills too many monsters. And it's just not helpful. So as soon as we're out of this really long dungeon, away he goes. No more helpful NPC that does tons of damage and doesn't die. It's just going to go back to the players doing their own things and making their mistakes. So number 5, big mistake I made is shielding my players. Sometimes, because I'm, again, too nice of a person and I don't want to see them, hurt or whatever, sometimes I'm a little bit too lax on my players than I should be. I forget enemy resistances until it's too late, or I give them too many healing potions or things like that. The best way to fix this one, unfortunately, is to grow a freaking spine. And I'm talking to myself here. Their characters are going to fall. They're probably going to die too at some point. That's just a fact of the game. I have to get used to it, and you do too. So, those are the 5 mistakes out of many that I've made while DMing Dungeons & Dragons. Number 1, not limiting players. Number 2, giving too many magic items. Number 3, making dungeons too long. Number 4, making friendly NPCs too strong. And number 5, shielding my players. What mistakes have you made while DMing? What have you learned from it? Send your answers to @GeronimoLevis on Instagram, and next episode I'll shout you out, read your responses on the show, so other people can learn from your mistakes as you are hopefully learning from mine. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Thank you guys for rating and reviewing the show. It goes so long in helping promote the show, but hopefully you've learned from my mistakes and are becoming a better DM than I am. Until next time, let's roll initiative. Thank you for listening to today's show. We really appreciate your support and your patronage. We have a few more announcements to go over. First,
did you ever fall in love with the library as a kid? It was a place where you could experience 1,000 stories without having to buy 1,000 books. That is what Monsters.rent can do for your D&D campaign. You can rent and swap out as many quality miniature monsters and creatures for your D&D party as you could ever want, without having to buy them. You can rescue villagers from a kobold camp, or lead your party through the fighting forest, or many more adventures. We're coming out with new bundles all the time. Just sign up for our subscription to get access to your own personal library of minis. Go to monsters.rent to find out more. That's the website. Monsters, with an S, .rent. Get your library pass to a world of minis today.
We also wanted to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Stardust and Dragons. I'm going to let one of the cast of Stardust and Dragons, Christian Hatcher, and his crew tell you a little bit more about it.
This August, a new adventure podcast is coming to a platform near you, filled with action.
Shoot one of the 2 of them. We can't keep taking hits like that.
Drama.
Everything that she's been doing, everything she's going to do, finally sets in.
And Stardust.
Help! Help! Someone, please!
Find out more about this epic odyssey at stardustanddragons.com, where adventure awaits in the stars. yours.
That's all the announcements we have today. Again, thank you so much for everything you do for us. You make this show possible. Like we said before, we'll be back next week with another great episode, and until then, let's go ahead and roll initiative.